So I like to usually set a couple of ground rules on these conversations. One
Okay.
is there is no PowerPoint. You're not going to hear a sales pitch. I'm guessing you've seen some of these videos before.
Oh yeah, I've been around for a while, so I've seen a lot of different things. So let's.
Okay, so there is you're not going to hear at the end of this thing if you buy now. The purpose of this conversation is two things. One, it's for you to determine, because contractors have the best BS meters on the planet. Someone's always trying to get something out of them for free. So
Yeah.
this is your opportunity to establish, number one, am I full of shit? And number two, if I'm not, am I the kind of guy you want to go into this market with? So it's just a conversation between two guys in the construction industry. And I like to ask
Okay.
also, normally people, when they're scrolling through Facebook, they see an ad and they go, whoop, right past it. There must have been something about my ad that caught your eye.
Well, I think it was just really it was a force function, really. We have been in the construction space for a while, and we have been wanting to break into government contracting, and even minority woman-owned business status and the whole thing. My wife is actually the primary owner of our C Corp, so we think that there's some opportunities there. We've just found that the ecosystem is really cluttered, and there's more questions than answers, if that makes sense. So
It does.
the barrier to entry has been really high. We have been successful in spite of ourselves on the residential construction space, and it's a behemoth that is really not getting any better with today's times. I mean, the margins are getting tighter. People are becoming more litigious. It's just really being a general contractor right now in the residential non-commercial space is really becoming more eventful by the day. So there are stress points there for sure, and we're looking at how do we think differently going forward. Is there an opportunity for us to do something different than what we're doing to find not only better margins, but just a better, protective structure to our business, and being an ecosystem that just it feels more like a real business as opposed to flying by the seat of our pants every day. That makes sense.
Uh, the answer to your question is yes, that makes perfect sense. What you just said in the last minute and a half to 2 minutes really shone a light on me, in the sense that you are my ideal client. I have taken many people exactly like you before and launched them into the federal market. So now it's just a matter of me convincing you that you are my ideal client.
Okay.
One of the other questions I ask is, I don't know how many videos I have on the internet. Have you watched any other than just the advertisement?
Oh yeah. So I've watched quite a few. I would say a handful. I've watched half a dozen videos. Most of them are with I guess it's your father that is teaching, and it's just some of that is really good. From the business acumen is really strong. I just have some really specific questions and I'm sure that you guys answer this, but the 800-pound gorilla in the room for me, as it relates to government contracting and commercial work for that matter, not just government contracting, but commercial work in general. Being in the residential space, I'm in Texas, you're in Texas, so you know this. In Texas, you don't even have to be a licensed contractor to perform GC work, right? It's all really rolling up to municipal services and your subs being your master trades that are actually getting permitted work and all of that stuff. We have some really unique challenges, I think, in today's environment. One is the workforce, meaning that in the residential space, I don't have to lie to you. You live in, I think it's Austin, right? So you see that, 98% of the workforce that we face on the residential side is either illegal immigration or people that are here legally doing work with an ITIN number. It's a big hurdle because there is nobody else to do the work. You can't get a guy to pick up a shovel or, run a hose on a concrete truck or frame a wall it just
Yeah, and yet my dad and I did 1,000 federal contracts over our careers that generated $1 billion in revenue. So
right, but I don't know how to do it. That's the thing. It's like, and then the other big thing for me. So I've spent a ton of money, and I'll just be very transparent. I spent a ton of money on consulting services. Some are really good, some are really not good. Right. I had one consulting service that we have spent quite a bit of money with. They're based out of Auckland, New Zealand, and they are really, really good. They're, like a Bain Capital or a McKesson style consulting for residential general contractors, right? So
okay.
structure and systematize your business and the whole thing. It's been fantastic, right? We've learned a lot.
The problem with residential, you got two things going on here. All right.
Yeah.
Did you see my video on the economy?
Oh, absolutely. And oh no, I didn't see that one. I saw the one that showed, the opportunity.
No. Let's talk about the economy first.
Okay.
Okay. By the way, I don't want to forget the second thing. I said there's two things going on here. The second one is really the bigger deal. Right. Residential customers are a pain in the ass to deal with.
Absolutely.
And because when you go to get your money, they're having to pull it out of their pocket. And that's hard. Okay? It's personal. But the other big thing you got going on here is the economy. See, you're not an economist. I'm not Alan Greenspan, and I'm not going to try and blow smoke up your ass. But I've noticed some things over time. And that is that when the economy's going strong, the way you find out about it is your phone starts ringing more. Okay? And then the more it rings, you at some point you feel like Superman, and so you raise your prices. Okay? And then all of a sudden, the economy takes a dip, but you're not paying attention because you're out there trying to get all this work done and collect all this money, and etc., and feeling so good. But then all of a sudden the phone stops ringing, and you're going, well, what the hell, man? Last week I was feeling so good, everything was great, now things have changed. And I'm here to tell you, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong, and these guys in Australia or Auckland, New Zealand, or whatever they're telling you is probably true, but it's only true when the economy's going up. Okay?
Yep.
When this thing goes down, what do we call this?
That's basically it's a bear market or a cyclical recession or
a recession. We call the downturns in the market a recession. What was the worst recession in American history?
The 30s.
1929, the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Great Depression.
The guy who took over and solved the problem was FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. It was 1933, and it was called the New Deal, if you remember the history books.
Right.
What he did to look, 9 out of 10 people in our country were out of work. Okay. Mm-hmm. What he did was he said, I'm going to build roads, bridges, and dams across the United States, and I'm going to put Americans back to work through federal government construction. All right? He saved our economy. He saved our country. But there was something unique about the New Deal that's not covered in the history books very well. And that is, before the New Deal, when our government bought construction goods and services, they called it a cost. Hey, it costs money to build things. Mm-hmm. FDR negotiated with Congress and came up with the concept that from now on, when we spend money on federal government construction, we're getting an asset, the road, bridge, and dam. And that increases the value of our country. In other words, he balanced the books. For the first time, it wasn't just a cost.
Right.
That was significant. It changed everything. Okay? Then, you're older, you're my age. When was the last recession?
Well, that'd be 2013-ish.
Yeah,
2013.
It was 2009. It was the housing crisis. Who was president?
Yeah. That was Bush going into, or no, that was who was that? That was not, wasn't Obama, was it? That was before Obama.
It was Obama.
I thought it was the transition, but right at the beginning of Obama's administration is what it was.
That's right. And then we were facing a recession. Yep. And what did he do? Do you know?
He passed the Economic Development Recovery Act or what?
It was called the ARRA, American Reinvestment and Recovery Act. He put $150 billion into the federal government construction market because he was trying to do what FDR did.
Right.
Okay? $150 billion, but you saw my advertisement. How many registered federal contractors are there?
What was it? 15,000?
25,000.
25,000. Yeah.
And what I'm telling you is that I was there. 25,000 registered federal contractors cannot do $150 billion worth of work. That's impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Okay?
Impossible.
There weren't enough federal contractors for what he was trying to do. Now look, everything I'm telling you is Googleable. You can decide to believe me or not, but you can look it up later. But the American Reinvestment Recovery Act, something on the order of $47 billion that had been set aside for that, didn't get spent because there was too much meat on the bone. These guys couldn't do it. My dad and I come on the scene in 2010 with the concept of we're going to create more federal contractors so that the next time this happens, there will be enough federal contractors to eat the meat on the bone, stimulate the economy. When's the next recession? Today. Okay.
Today, yeah.
Who's president?
That would be Biden.
Okay. You can call him Slow Joe, but what did he just approve?
The Infrastructure Act.
The Infrastructure Act. That's right. He's doing the same thing that Obama did and that FDR did. He's stimulating the economy through federal contracts. Okay? There are contractors out there in this country that are smarter than you. Okay? And what they're doing is they're riding this wave up, and then instead of falling into free fall with you, they're splitting off and doing federal contracts. Then they're coming over here and they're splitting off and doing federal contracts. Look, most people in the construction industry will work for between $20 and $250 an hour. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. But there's some contractors like me that are making tens of thousands of dollars an hour. The problem is we're not telling you how we're doing it.
Right.
You want to know how we do it?
Of course.
Our federal government has a rule book. It's called the Federal Acquisition Regulations. We refer to it as the acronym, the FARs. Whether it's the National Park Service, National Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, Bureau of Indian Affairs, IRS, CIA, FBI, federal courthouses, Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines, Environmental Protection Agency, United States Post Office. There's 500 agencies. They all have buildings across the United States. It's 1 million buildings. They all need construction goods and services, and they all operate under one rule book, the FARs, Federal Acquisition Regulations. Okay, that's the rules that we use to acquire construction goods and services. You and I are going to talk about one specific FAR. And it's FAR 13.004A. And I want you to Google it right now because you're going to read it to me. FAR 13.004A. And then, look, I can just tell you from this conversation, you're a really smart guy and you're going to try and jump ahead. Don't. Stick with me step by step. Okay?
All right. So the FAR 13.004A, a quotation is not an offer.
No, stop. See, you're jumping ahead already. The first thing I want you to recognize is that this is not my website. This is a government website.
Yep.
Okay? And what's the title of the FAR?
Legal effect of quotation.
That's right. And what I want to establish with you first is that if you go down the street, you personally go down the street and you give out 100 quotes or 1,000 quotes, is there anything legal associated with that quote? Or is it just a quote?
No, it's not a quote until it becomes a agreed upon contract.
No. You're saying
I
it's
mean,
not a contract.
it's not
Okay.
it's not a contract until it becomes
There's
agreed
nothing
upon.
legal about it. It's just a
Nothing legal
quote.
about it. Just a quote.
That's right. And then the first thing I want you to recognize that on the government side, they're saying that if it's a quote, there's a legal effect to it. That's different.
Yep.
Okay.
That is different.
Okay. Now, the next thing I want you to do is read the first sentence and stop at the period.
Okay. A quotation is not an offer and consequently cannot be accepted by the government to form a binding contract.
Okay. Now, look, if you call me up and you say, hey, Sean, give me a bid to build a 200 square foot tiny house, and I sign that bid and I give it to you, and you sign it, what do we now have?
We have a legally binding contract.
That's right. But the first sentence on the federal government side says that when I turn in a quote to them, they cannot turn it into a contract. So what I'm establishing here is that in the real world, you can turn it into a contract, but the first sentence of the legal effect of a quotation on the government is that they cannot turn it into a contract, and that's different, right?
Absolutely, it is.
Okay. Now read the second sentence out loud.
Therefore, issuance by the government of an order in response to a supplier's quotation does not establish a contract.
Now, this was written by attorneys in Congress. It's the legal effect of a quotation, so we're talking about law here. And what I'm telling you, what that second sentence means is that the government recognizes that everybody within the government is not perfect. And that someday, even though the first rule says a quote's not an offer and can't be turned into a contract, they're concerned that someday somebody might make a mistake and take your quote and turn it into a contract on accident. If that ever happens to you, what they're saying there is, don't worry about it. It's still not a contract.
Got it.
Isn't that what that says?
It is what it says.
Okay. Keep reading the rest of the paragraph all the way to the end.
All right. It says the order is an offer by the government to the supplier to buy certain supplies or services upon specific terms and conditions. A contract is established when the supplier accepts the offer.
Now, you're a pretty smart guy and you probably have figured out what that means, but I'm going to explain it to you how that really works in the real world. Our government has construction needs and services. It's good.
Hold on just a second. I don't mean to jump ahead, but that just kind of blew my mind right there. So basically, I get it. It can't be a contract unless they accept what I give them. Or what I agree to.
Let me break. That's right, but let me break it down for you. Okay. What they have to do is they have to offer it back. So I give them a quote, they can't turn it into a contract. What that says is they have to offer it back to me. They have to say, hey, we got your quote for $100,000. Would you please do it for $100,000? That's what they have to do. But when they do that, I have 4 options. Number 1, I can accept. Hey, we'll take the job. Number 2, I can withdraw. Hey, we're too busy. Sorry. Gonna have to go get somebody else to do it. Okay. Number 3, I can negotiate. Hey, suppose I need more money. Number 4, I can stall for more time. Now look, if you're the government and you need this 200 square foot tiny house built, of these 4 options, which one are you trying to get me to do?
Oh, you want me to accept it?
That's right. They want me to accept it. They want to get it off their desk, move on to the next one. They got 10 more behind it. They want me to accept it. So now they've got a contract. But I don't do that. I never do that. Well, I don't want to say never. There are some instances that I do. But most of the time what I'm doing is I'm stalling. What I say to them is, I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting your call. Can I call you back in 24 to 48 hours? Can you see how that just gets them right off the phone?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I'm calling you. And this is the conversation I'm having. Hey, Michael, my name's Sean. I'm a national federal contractor. I do everything from wind tunnels, water treatment plants to kitchen renovations. I'm calling you today because our government, the National Park Service, needs a little 200 square foot tiny house built And what I'd like to do is send you over the plans and specifications. And when you get them, don't even look at the plans and specs. Just pick up the phone and call me. I'm already familiar with the job, and I'll walk you through it step by step. Then you get the plans and specs. We get on the phone, we talk, and I say, hey, Michael, I'm not asking you to bid every 2x4, every electrical outlet, every shingle. I'm just asking you to just give me a number off the cuff based on what you see, that if I called you up 90 days from today and said, hey, man, we got the job, that we'd be close enough to negotiate something that makes sense for both of us. In other words, I'm taking the pressure off of you to give me a number. So in this hypothetical situation that you and I are role-playing here, give me a number. How much to build the 200 square foot tiny house?
200 square foot tiny house. Let's just say it's
dude, we're role playing.
75 grand.
Wrong answer.
75 grand.
Okay, so the guy said, so I turned my bid in for 100 grand. The guy that knows how to build this shit is telling me 75 grand. I might just call and accept, and now I make $25,000 while he goes and does all the work. I make my money in a couple of hours. Give me another scenario. How much to build the 200 square foot tiny house?
$150,000.
Holy shit, I turned my bid in for 100 grand and this guy's telling me 150,000 to do it. I call the government up and I say, I'm sorry, we're too busy to do this job right now. We can't take the job. I withdraw my bid and I move on. Give me another scenario.
Okay. $100,000.
Oh man, I turned my bid in for 100 grand. This guy's telling me it's going to cost 100 grand to do it. So I call the government, I enter into negotiations, and I say, suppose I change my bid to 140,000. What happens then?
You're asking me what happens then? I have no idea.
I'm asking the government what happens
the
then.
government. I don't know what they say at that point.
No, what I'm telling you is I enter into negotiations with them.
I got you. So that's good. It's good. So you got four options.
I'm never accepting a loser.
That's good.
Okay, so here's my question to you based on what we just went over. Am I at any risk for any bid I ever turn into the federal government?
Not for bids, no.
No,
and that's
not
good.
For bids. That's good. Because one of my options is I can withdraw every bid I ever turned in. Am I at any risk that they're going to take my bid and turn it into a contract?
Not based on what that language said in that FAR that we read.
Okay.
It can't. We have they can't.
But listen, what you just experienced is 10 minutes of training from an event that we held on the other side of that whiteboard for over 10 years. We've been teaching contractors how to launch into the federal market, get federal contracts, and profit from them. Okay? It prior to the pandemic, we were doing them live. We brought people in the room. And I started recording them, not because I knew the pandemic was coming. I started recording them because I thought, holy crap, this is so cool that these contractors are coming into this room and we're teaching them, you know? Then all of a sudden the pandemic hits and I go, oh man, I can't bring people in the room anymore. So I edit together the videos that I already have of the live event and I posted them on my website. Okay? Would you like to see what that looks like?
Absolutely.
So here's part of day one of the workshop.
And then put the BIG over the opportunities. Big problems equal big opportunities. If somebody needs something and they really need it, they're desperate to get it done, you understand that's the opportunity you're looking for, the need. Okay? You focus on the need. Everything gets focused on the need. What's the need? Do you have a budget? Once I understand the need, I focus on it, I understand it, repeat it back to them. Is there anything else you want to elaborate on? Or anything else I should know? Okay, problems like that usually have a budget associated with it. Can you share that with me? Do you understand how we go from the need, fully understanding the need?
Here's part of day two of the workshop.
What the budget is before we go any further, right? In fact, I don't even mind telling them, look.
Well, my button's not working.
George, the real purpose of my business Do you remember me saying that the
that I
rule
didn't finish
was?
this sentence for you. Seth calls me up and says, what do I do? And I told him one of two things are going to happen. I said, number one, you're going to get 100% of your contract amount with 0% complete without doing any of the work. I told him that up front. Don't you just love what I can say to people? Okay, two. Or you're going to get a big fat change order. Don't you love change orders? Some change orders can be big fat change orders. So I said, now if those are the only two outcomes, it's either this or this, you would think he'd be pretty satisfied with the conversation, right? So he says, what do I do next? What it does next, I said, you need to get the inspector to go out there and look at that and agree that it's different. That's all you need. You need him to look in there and go, yep, that's bigger. That's all you need him to do.
Do you remember
here's
me
part of day
saying
3.
that the rule was if there's only one bidder and that bidder is 15% or more above the government estimate, they cannot award the contract? Why does our government, in their infinite wisdom, have that rule? Anybody?
Tax dollars money.
Protects tax dollars, right? Because Sally, what's she trying to do? Get George's job done. He needs it. It's his money. He went and asked for it to fix his fish hatchery. It's sitting on her desk. He needs it done. It's not going to get done until she finds a contractor she can award it to. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So suddenly somebody...
So look, what you're investing in with me is access to that 3 days of training. It's 10 hours the first day, 11 hours the second day, 7 hours the third day. I've got a little supplemental video here because a couple of things have changed in the last couple of years. It's not PPIRS anymore, it's CPARS. And so I'm just a little 10-minute, 20-minute update video on some things that are a little bit different. And but that's what you're getting access to is the training. I can't teach you how to be a federal contractor in 3 hours. It takes 3 days. Not that you couldn't binge watch it. You could stay up all night and watch 27 hours, I guess, if you wanted to. But that's what we're offering.
Okay.
And then it's not going to mean anything to you in this conversation, but we have a membership program after the workshop. And the membership program offers 3 things. Number one is it offers 24/7 access to me. I'm your right-hand man. I'm your guy you can bounce ideas off of, have intelligent conversations with about strategies, okay? People don't call me to ask me about the weather in Austin, Texas. I tell them to go outside and look at a weather rock. They ask me to call, I tell people, if you want to talk an hour a day, if you've got interesting shit to say, let's talk for an hour a day, The second thing you're getting is all my tools, templates, and technology, all the paperwork, the safety plans, the CQC plans, the pay applications, the subcontract agreements, the daily reports, the certified payroll forms, all the paperwork that we used to do 1,000 federal contracts that generated $1 billion in revenue. That's pretty good shit, right? The third thing that you're getting access to is really where the money is. So if earlier in this conversation you said something, you alluded to my research ended up in dead ends, okay? And I'm here to tell you that yes, the internet is dead ends when it comes to becoming a federal contractor. I think you used the word barrier to entry, which is one of my favorite words associated with this. The barrier to entry is high because nobody's got answers. I'm the guy that's got the answers. When we started in 2010, we looked on the internet to see what is available if somebody wanted to start doing this. And we went, Jesus Christ, that's awful. Okay?
Yeah.
The primary website...
I think we started our same registration. We didn't actually do it. We started it trying to get set up as a...
9 out of 10 people who start that fail. And that's why I looked at my wife in 2010 and I said, look, I'm going to be bringing people into this market. You need to be an expert at getting them SAM registered. Okay. The first one took her freaking 3 weeks or whatever, working, 8 hours a day trying to get that shit done. Now she does it in about 2 weeks. Okay.
Okay.
And she charges $700 for that. It's a one-time thing. She gets you done, registered. She's never failed. Not once in 12 years has she failed. Okay. So she's an expert at getting you SAM registered. It's a one-time deal. My class is $5,000. But what I really want to talk to you is that third thing in the membership program. sam.gov sucks. It's a government website. It's like the old oxymoron. We're the government and we're here to help you. Well, Jesus Christ, if that's what help looks like, okay, that website is awful. And it takes people like you hours of searching through it to find work. So guess what I did? This doesn't say GC idiots. It says GC experts. I invested $250,000, $250,000, and built my own solicitation website so that my guys and me don't ever have to go to sam.gov because it sucks. Want to see what it looks like?
Sure.
It's called Bid Tracker. I invented it. This is Bid Tracker. It's got 50 jobs sorted by date that they're due. And you just scroll down. There's 50 jobs per page. These are all federal government solicitations. 50 jobs per page. Right now, there's 14 pages, so that's over 500 jobs. It's always a 30-day look ahead. When you find a job you're interested in, you click sync. You click sync. You click sync. How long did that take, Michael?
3 seconds. 3 clicks.
That's right. You go to the next page. You bring up the jobs. You go, oh, I like that one. Click sync. Click sync. Come down here. Oh, click sync. I like that one. Oh, I want to take a next step. How long is this taking, Michael?
Not long.
Okay, come down here. Let's go to page 6. These are jobs that are due on the 22nd of March. We'll click sync. We'll click sync. We'll click sync. We'll click sync. What do you think's happening in the background?
Yeah, it's just compiling a list for you to follow up on, creating a folder.
It's creating a folder of the dates that I clicked. Okay, so this is your bid schedule.
That's nice.
The jobs that are due on the 22nd of March are in here. These are the jobs I clicked sync on for that day. What do you think's in there? Well, that was a bad example. Must be a pre-solicitation. But this is a good example. This is the files you need to bid the job. Are you at any risk for any of the bids you turn in? Oh, you went on mute, Michael.
Sorry, I have my son and my dog in the background. I'm listening to you, but I don't want you to pick up the background noise. I was going to say, can I ask you a couple of tactical questions here?
Absolutely. This is your chance, man. You got a guy in front of you that's done $1 billion worth of work.
Yeah, that's good. So I'm definitely interested. I think that the things that I look at, I wrote a couple of questions as we were talking through. So let's kind of begin with the end of where you were and then ask backwards from there. So building the bids, or are you outsourcing that, or is there templates, or is it just like
Am I at any risk for the bid that I turn in?
No, so you can do it fast. Doesn't matter. I can just slap it on a piece of paper and just throw it out there.
It takes longer to fill out the paperwork than it does to come up with a number.
Yeah. One of the things that we face right now, and you already know where I'm going with this, is we spend an inordinate amount of time on creating a conceptual estimate.
That's crazy. So look.
Yeah.
Do you remember in high school calculus class, they said you can't divide by 0?
Right.
Okay. But you can divide by numbers that approach 0.
Right.
Okay. I took that concept to heart and I said, hey, I don't win every bid that I turn in. So I want the cost of what I call the cost of procuring a federal contract to approach 0.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what this is.
I've been saying that for years on the residential side, but you can't ever get there. It seems like it's an increasing cost. And the more Yahoos that are, and you're competing against more people. So, okay. So I get that concept because you're lowering your risk basis. So it's really about volume and identifying things quickly, getting things out there in a structured format that you can get a fish on the hook, so to speak.
And dude, if you have questions about how to fill out a federal form, I got another camera here. Here you go, Michael. Here's how you fill out a federal form.
Old school.
Well, of course.
Yeah. All right. So let me go through a couple of these other questions. So that one I can kind of check off. I kind of knew the answer to that. How many of these jobs that you guys are procuring, or the contractors that you're working with that are procuring with the government, are they actually fulfilling? Because what I understand is that scale is important, right? There's no way that you've done $1 billion in government contract business where you're actually out there swinging a hammer and wearing a belt to do that work. It's just, that's not.
But I don't get asked that question every day. So let me give you some really cool scenarios. You got a minute?
Okay. Yep.
To answer your question first, yes, most of the jobs are just being subcontracted to a guy like you. He goes out there, does the job. I make 20 grand and move on. But
that's what I want to
There were times in our career, I'll give you a couple of examples. One was around 2003 or something. My dad walks into my office and he says, "Hey, we got a job." I go, "Great, okay. What is it?" I open it up and it's for $7,500. And I go, "What the fuck? Why are we doing a $7,500 job?" And he goes, No. Look where it's at. I look at it. San Francisco. You bid a job for $7,500 in San Francisco? What the hell, man? And he goes, No. Look where it's at. The rare book vault. He goes, "Don't you want to see what's in there?"
So for him, it was a vacation.
We ended up taking the entire team out to California. I think we spent $40,000 doing a $7,500 job. Boy, it was a great time. Yeah. And we went inside the rare book vault and we saw what was in there. So that was cool. Yeah. Okay. I'll give you another example. Do you remember the movie when we were kids, War Games?
Yeah, sure.
Want to play a game?
Yeah.
That movie was partially about NORAD.
Right.
You cannot go inside NORAD unless you have a reason to be inside NORAD. About 3 or 4 years ago, one of my clients got a job inside NORAD. And my dad calls me up and he says, "Hey, do you want to go with me to NORAD and replace a pillow block bearing on a shaft?" And I went, "Yeah." So my dad and I flew to Colorado Springs, drove over to NORAD, went inside NORAD and replaced a pillow block bearing on a motor. It's either a 6 or an 8-inch motor shaft. I can't remember which. But it took us 2 days. We replaced the thing, had a great time, and I have been inside NORAD. I would have paid $20,000 to go do that. Yeah.
So I get that. And that's cool. So what I hear you saying is that most of these contracts, though, you're not actually fulfilling the contracts. You're taking something off.
I'm a construction management firm.
Right. Which leads me directly into my next question, right? So you were talking about NORAD. There's no way in hell anybody gets into NORAD unless they have a reason to be there, or they're highly qualified, have a background check. And it leads me to one of my very first questions that I had.
Yeah, and the answer to your question is yes. They got it. They got to have their ticket to be here. They got to be legal. Blah blah blah. And look, when I'm having that conversation with you, I'm saying things like, "Hey, on this job, you quoted me $50,000 to build the 200 square foot tiny house. If I give you $55,000, will you take 3 pictures every morning, take 3 pictures every evening, send me pictures, and I'm not going to have any troubles? I can go sit on my boat and drink beer, and you're going to take care of the whole thing, Michael?" Look, we have plenty of money to pick the right guys to be out there.
Okay. Yeah, and that so the labor pool is kind of what I was alluding to, right? And
yeah, we're dealing with higher end contractors. look, every town's got a really good roofer. Every town's got a really good plumber. And if you get to a town where you can't find the guy, like really small towns somewhere, because our federal government has some offices in some really weird places that are hours outside of any big city, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we make a lot of money on those contracts, but how we find the guy is we call the local preacher. He knows everybody in town.
No, that's a good, that's that's kind of brilliant. Well, and here is it's something that just clicked in my mind. For the first time probably ever, I'm thinking that the opportunity is greater for me outside the territory of Texas than it is in Texas, because I think Texas has, because Texas has the workforce is so diluted with
Look, dude, I've been in this business for 3 decades. Ask me how many jobs I've done in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
And it was at the IRS building down on 35. That's a federal building. I replaced a couple cooling towers there. But I didn't do it. I hired a local mechanical outfit to go replace the cooling tower.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the other big question that's come up like numerous times and has been a barrier to entry where my brain just didn't understand it. And I didn't have the resources or time to figure it out. So
there is no magic in this business. So ask me your question.
All right. Bonding, insurance requirements.
Oh, great. I got a whole thing on it. Stop right there.
Okay.
Remember we Googled Federal Acquisition Regulation 13.004A?
Yep.
Now I want you to Google FAR 28.102.
28.012. Okay, hold on. Let me get back to Google. Look at it.
28.102.
Hold on a second. So. All right. Oh, I think I'm on the wrong one. I've got 28.102-2. Let me go back to just 102. Hold on. There's a 102-1 and the general or the amount required.
No, just 28.102 should say something about payment and performance protection.
Yeah, it says performance and payment bonds and alternative payment protections for construction.
That's what it is. So look at me.
Okay.
If there's a Dr. Pepper on your table and I say, hey, Michael, hand me that Coke, do you know what I'm talking about?
Sure, because it's a soda. Some people confuse the word Coke with Dr. Pepper or Mountain
That's
Dew.
right. There's a word for that. I don't know what it is, but the main purpose of me asking that question is, you know what I mean. And what I'm about to tell you is that when somebody says the word bonds, they think they're talking about bonds, but what they're really talking about is payment and performance protection.
Right.
Okay? And it turns out there's 5 types of payment performance protection, but everybody refers to it as bonds. But there's 5 types. And in 28.102, it talks about it. It says bonds. It says irrevocable letter of credit. It says something that you've never heard of before called tripartite.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says, I forget, but it's essentially cash, like a certified check. And then the last one is a deed to land or something like that, right? I mean, it's been a while since I've read the FAR, but am I basically in there?
Yeah. Yep. That's correct.
Okay.
I'm pivoting back and forth between what the language is saying versus looking at your face. So I'm following you on the whiteboard. I'm doing both here.
No problem. But the basic idea is that these are all different types of payment and performance protection. So bonds is just one of them. Do I have a good bond guy? I've been in this business for 12 years. I've been bringing people into the federal market. You think I got a good bond guy I can get you with?
I'm sure you do. You have to.
Okay, of course I do. Irrevocable letter of credit, that's something you can get from a bank. Tripartite escrow agreements. I am the #1 writer of tripartite escrow agreements in the country. They are good up to $150,000, and you can have as many of them as you want. Okay?
Okay.
And then you know, if you've got cash, you can put cash up. If you've got land, you can put land up. Can I get you satisfied in the payment performance protection area? The answer is yes, I can. I deal with it all the time. Okay. Not going to be a problem.
Okay. And then if a job is, I would assume that if a job is too large, meaning that there's no track record or background of doing federal contracts, that there's a backstop of rev share or something with somebody else that we can do that actually gives us the opportunity to still take on those larger, you know, $2 million jobs.
Now you're coming around to the idea that you're talking to an expert, not an idiot.
Right. Okay. That's good. Because, you know, honestly, the labor and the bond, you know, understanding how to get performance bonds have been the, not just a barrier to entry on the government side, but just in commercial, right?
If you have a reasonable credit score, my guy can get it done for you in 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I mean, we do. I mean, we just never have done commercial or government
You just
work.
don't have the right guy, man. I got the right guy. Don't you worry about it there. I got the right guy.
Okay. All right. What should I be asking you that I'm not asking you? You do a ton of these calls. You're like, wow. That dude should have asked that.
I know what you're. Okay. No. Here's what it is. What's my motivation?
Yeah. What is your motive? Yeah. I mean, listen. I think that's a big one. Like, what motivates you guys? If you've done $1 billion in government contracts, why are you spending time training up?
No, that's the question. Look, if you break it down, the question is, what's your motivation? All that other shit doesn't matter. What's the motivation? I'll show you.
Right.
Here's my motivation. Okay, this is Cedar Park, Texas, just outside of Austin. This is my office. I have an office in an office complex, warehouse type, building structures. This office that I have here is right off of Brushy Creek Road. Not that matters, but here's my office. Here's my house. That's 2 blocks that I walk back and forth to my office every day. But sometimes my wife makes me take the long route, for a little extra exercise. This is my house. It's just a small, regular old house. Got a little RV. Got a pool in the back. Got a guest house that I built. I got a hot tub over here. I got a fire pit. And underneath this little metal roof here is my outdoor kitchen that includes a dishwasher. I have enough money to sit by that pool in that backyard kitchen and drink beer every day, jump in that pool in that hot tub for the rest of my life. Is that a life worth living?
No, not really.
That's not what my passion is. My passion is teaching people how to get really profitable federal contracts. This is fun. I didn't qualify you at the beginning of this conversation. I didn't say, hey, at the end of this thing, I'm going to ask you to give me $5,000. And if you don't have $5,000, I don't want to talk to you. Mm-hmm. Okay? I didn't qualify you in any way whatsoever because I enjoy these conversations. It's fun. Mm. This is what I like to do. And I think it shows.
Yeah, no, it does. How many contractors do you guys work with? So there's 25,000 contractors. So BidTracker, I've actually stumbled across BidTracker before, I think, or maybe it was a different site. And then, so I'm assuming there's a subscription to that service, right?
It's $6 a month. But it includes the other things, and I'm not sure anybody can put a value on that until they've been through the workshop.
Yeah. So do you have folks that, there's 25,000 contractors. I mean, that's the really interesting number to me, is the billions of dollars and how that breaks down to
my biggest contractor, the biggest guy in my program does between $30 and $40 million a year. The government's issuing $1 billion a day. Have you seen my proof page?
Yeah, I haven't looked at it in detail, but I have seen it.
It's indisputable. There's over $300 million in federal contract awards on that one page alone. And it's indisputable that we taught them how to do that. Because you can compare it on usaspending.gov. It's public information. So you can't argue that that's not true.
Yeah, I get that. So and I don't, I'm not, that's pretty powerful. I'm not questioning. I mean, it's very powerful. I'm not questioning that. I'm just looking at it, and I'm truly looking introspectively, right? I'm not running a very big business. It's $3 or $4 million a year and gross sales. My wife and I run the business, and it's hard slogging. You know, we're not, for us to sell $3-4 million in business in a year, it's hard work. It takes a lot,
also your margins are really small. That's
exactly where I was going.
See, on my side, it's 30 to 80% margins. My guys are making thousands of dollars per hour of their time. So I tell people, don't focus on what I want to do in a year. That's meaningless. What I tell them to focus on is make $25,000 a month profit working 4 hours a week, dumbass.
Yeah, that's way better. Yeah, I could care less about I care about the gross margins as it relates to the balance sheet, but what I care about is net profit. I would much rather do fewer jobs, less work with higher net profit than doing more jobs with a lower net profit. And that's what we're finding, right? I mean,
that's what I create. What you just said, you want my job? Because you did a better job saying it than I do.
Yeah. Well, so that's what we're looking for, right? I just don't, and I'm not questioning that you guys are the right guys. I guess my question really is the only thing I've left. You got this three-day training. It equates to 30 hours of training, and then a subscription-based service, and then there's help with the SAM registration, and then the tactical details on a daily basis. I'm just assuming that I don't know. It's just going to come to light for me that, hey, this is where we go. We go into the system, we find the contracts, we start bidding, and it's basically, we have a system and a process to follow. And if we do that, then we're going to be successful, is what I hear you saying. I mean,
someone says Bob's your uncle usually to that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not looking for a guarantee. I'm just looking for, when you look
if you want a guarantee, here's a guarantee. You go through my 3-day training. If for any reason or no reason at all, you pick up the phone and call me and say, dude, you're a quack. That's crazy. I'll give you your money back.
Okay. All right.
I don't need your money. I'm going to be eating steak dinner tonight. Don't you worry about me.
Okay. That's good. I mean, I like, we're all selfish. I think we have a tendency of being good people, but we're not all naturally good people. I do think that being selfish from a business perspective is important. Having to understand the why of why you're doing what you're doing is really important, because, listen, Stacy and I have spent probably in the past 3 to 4 years, close to $100,000 on different training programs, different things. I would say that 80,000 of that has been complete garbage.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'll even up the ante. If for any reason or no reason at all, you want your money back and I don't give you your money back, this is being recorded. Happy to give you a copy. Dispute the charge. I won't argue with it.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I think that's what we're looking for, is we just really, I don't want to use the word, we're highly motivated to have something that actually works without somebody just yanking our chain.
Then Google me, okay?
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 12 years now. There's no way in hell that if my shit was scammy, slimy, or something like that, that there wouldn't be 15 websites out there saying Sean Reitmeyer is an idiot. Okay? I've been told that people have looked for stuff like that and not been able to find it. I don't Google myself. So good luck and do your own research.
Yep. All right. So what's the next step? We fill out the form, we pay you the money, we go into it's a virtual. This isn't a face-to-face. I'm a face-to-face kind of guy.
Yeah, except that, wait a second. You can pause it, you can pick up the Zoom, and you can say, hey, Sean, you just said this, break it down for me. How's that any different than being live?
Oh, it's not. I'm not questioning that. I think doing it virtual is fine. I think where I was going with that is beyond the 3 days of training and the membership and the SAM registration. I think really what we are looking for is a fast track. Like I want to be with somebody that's going to,
that's
say, hey,
what the membership program's for.
Yeah. So tell me about that. So you've got the $5,000 for the training, the 700 for the SAM registration. What the membership program? What does that include? Is that access to the site, or that's different?
That's the three things I talked about. All that's access to me 24/7. Okay. It's access to all our tools, templates, and technology. All the paperwork, the subcontract agreements, purchase orders, daily reports, all the paperwork, safety plans. Okay, and then it's Bid Tracker. Bid Tracker is the main thing because it costs $25,000 a month to operate Bid Tracker. I got 2 full-time guys on that.
Okay. What's the cost of that?
$600 a month.
I think we're paying right now. I mean, just so you know, we're not opposed to tools. Like on our construction side now, I think we've got a $400 or $600 a month tool that we use for our CRM.
Tell you, you don't need me. You can go try and figure out this whole barrier to entry yourself.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, dude. No, I'm not interested in doing that. I'm not trying to. I'm doing my due diligence. Is all I'm doing. I'm just checking the box because here's the thing: is I've got another half. Stacy, I told you. The last question that I really have is what's the advantage to, and this is probably a question for your wife. We intentionally are set up as a C Corp with a structure of my wife being the majority shareholder of the company. She controls 83% of our company intentionally. And the reason is that we want to have, for various reasons, but I think it helps us on the government contracting side. But
the answer to your question is yes. Okay. But not as much as what it used to be.
Okay.
So 30 years ago, there were a lot more set-asides for women-owned businesses. Today, yes, there are some set-asides for women-owned businesses. It just ain't what it used to be 30 years ago. So,
Gotcha.
Yes, that can help you. But I tell people that my dad and I were 2 white guys from Texas competing in full and open competition for our entire careers. All right?
Yep.
If we can do it, you can do it too.
Okay. All right. It's good. I think it's good. I think that there's a lot of value. I think we just need to buckle down and do it.
Okay, man.
So what else? Is there anything else from your seat? I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. Listen, how realistic is it for me right now? We're running full speed ahead, doing custom construction on the residential side. Like I said, we're not big, but we're cranking out $3 million a year, something like that. How realistic is it for us to come in and scale up in this business? And then how much infrastructure are we going to need? Let's say that, because one of the things I want to do
you start just doing it yourself. You and your wife can do this, no problem. I've got a video at GCExperts.com/bud, BUD.
Okay.
He says the name of his company is 358 Construction, but it was supposed to be 357, but he didn't like the negative connotation of a gun. Okay. But he named it 358 because his credit score when he started with us was 357.
That's fine.
Okay. Look, there's shining examples everywhere of guys that we've pulled into this market. Okay, they're just everywhere. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't talk about all of them all the time, but that's a specific example. And you're asking, can anybody be launched into this thing with two people? Bud's probably 20 years your senior, so is his wife. And over the last 3 years, yeah, I think his company's worth $500,000 now. So, I mean,
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Sean, I appreciate your time. I think we're going to jump on this and go through the training. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know what else I should be asking you at this point other than,
look, you'll be better educated to have this conversation after you go through the workshop.
Okay.
Then we'll start talking strategy, okay?
okay, that sounds good. And you can tell that's where my mind goes instantly. That's the thing.
I
the thing-
figured you out in the first 5 minutes. I told you you're my ideal client. You just don't know it yet.
The biggest thing for me is making sure that I don't overthink things, right? Because I have
That's
been
right.
through the
And
I've been
step
through the ringer
one,
with the,
step one is invest in the workshop, go through the training, and then decide if I'm full of shit or you want your money back or you want to get launched into the federal market. That's the first step. Just do that.
yeah. Look, $5,000 is not. That's not. I mean, we're talking. That's not much money. I mean, I'm looking for a long-term relationship with somebody that's actually gonna.
It starts with a conversation. Have the conversation.
Schedule a Zoom with me at GCExperts.com/Zoom.